The second Kuzan legend debuted on OPTC Global on the 30th of August 2018. Now looking at the second half of this Sugo-Fest batch, the legend had a captain effect that maintained a higher multiplier than his counterpart, as well as a higher HP pool. This character's special ability was also a mirror of his counterpart, giving a full board of slots, as well as a significant boosting effect. Introducing Kuzan, Fateful Struggle to the Death. In this series, we'll be traveling back in time to experience some of the older Sugo-Fest exclusive characters in their prime, aiming to show just what it was like to use these characters on their debut. I hope you enjoy the video, and without further ado, let's enter the Legends of OPTC. Thank you very much for checking out yet another episode of the Legends of OPTC. So this episode this week is going to be covering the second half of the batch that we talked about in the previous week. And that character is going to be Kuzan. We're not going to go through the rare recruits again because, as I said, we did go through them in the previous week. So this one is going to be a little shorter as we're just going to focus on Kuzan. So of course, with Sakazuki being an int character and focusing on strength and int, naturally you've got Kuzan as the mirror of that, who is a Psi unit and is focusing on Psi and Quick. So he is a Psi striker shooter, which his class combination is fantastic. His captain ability is going to be boosting the attack of Quick and Psi characters by 3.25, which is the same multiplier that Sakazuki does. He also provides an HP boost. Now, Sakazuki did not provide an HP boost, so this guy is going to be way more bulky. Kuzan, very similar to Sakazuki, will make Quick and Psi slots beneficial to both Quick and Psi characters, and then has a further multiplier increase where he boosts the attack of Quick and Psi characters by 4.0625, very specific multiplier. I believe it's like a 3.25 multiplied by a certain value, following the chain of Psi, Psi, and then Quick, with no lower than good. So you have to hit in the order of yellow, yellow, blue without missing, then you get the buffed multiplier for the rest of the turn. So, you know, it's kind of funny because when we first looked at the two characters, just because Kuzan had a higher multiplier that he could achieve and he had an HP boost, a lot of people in the community, including myself, thought that Kuzan was going to be the better character, but then of course we actually realized how OP the end of turn damage was from Sakazuki, and we kind of realized, yeah, Sakazuki is definitely the winner here. But still not a bad captain ability in today's day and age, as we have a look at, you know, characters releasing around this time frame were around that 4 times multiplier. So Kuzan was in that same vein, plus he was boosting colors rather than classes, so you could use a lot of characters with him. And then Kuzan's special is very similar to Sakazuki in a lot of ways. He randomly changes slots, including block, into either Quick or Psi slots, whereas Sakazuki was for strength and int, he changes them to Quick and Psi instead, and then gives an attack boost to Quick and Psi characters 2.25 for 1 turn, and Sakazuki was an orb boost for his 2 colors. So basically a mirror of each other. But this is also another reason why a lot of people thought this guy was going to be better in the long run, because this character provided an attack boost rather than an orb boosting effect. But then of course you have a look at, you know, V2 Shanks and how OP that character is. But either way, a very nice kit overall. Of course, if you're using him as a captain, you activate the special ability, you get a full board of slots because he treats him as beneficial as a captain. You get a 2.25 attack boost, which we're probably going to make full use of in today's video. And overall, just an extremely powerful character on release. But of course, due to the popularity of Sakazuki, unfortunately, Kuzan really took a back seat and he didn't really see a lot of play. However, with his introduction of his recent Super Evolution, which if you guys haven't seen my multiple videos talking about this guy, including the showcases and in Pirate Rumble, this guy got such a phenomenal upgrade and is easily the best Super Evolution in the game, probably outside of like the Super Sugo-Fest exclusives getting Super Evolutions. It's probably the best Super Evo in the game for regular Legends. Just such a phenomenal upgrade, but really excited to jump into the content with Kuzan today. We're not going to be using the wheel, we're just going to be selecting a piece of content because there's one particular piece of content that I want to go ahead and challenge. But let's go ahead and jump into it with Kuzan, Fateful Struggle to the Death. And here we are with my man Kuzan, one of the Navy HQ admirals. He is famous the world over for having lost a 10-day battle on Punk Hazard for the position of the new fleet admiral. During his fight, his onslaught of ice attacks left the island half-frozen wasteland. Yeah, a really cool legend, of course, as we just went through the breakdown, and here we have him with 100 attack and HP cotton candies. Of course, he's not going to be rainbowed. I'm not going to be investing tablets into these Legends of OPTC videos, unless if I'm devolving a legend. But I'm not going to be devolving my one, because my one is limit break expanded, so I don't want to showcase that in particular. But he has the max special, he's got the sockets, he is good to go. This is the team composition that we're bringing today. A little bit of a weird one, and I think a lot of people are wondering, you know, why is this team so odd when we're having a look at one of the specific pieces of content that we're going up against. But today we're going up against a pretty difficult Colosseum on release, but definitely one that a lot of people needed to beat, because this Colosseum unit was extremely strong and helped you build a lot of really good teams. And actually the Colosseum character we're taking on wasn't actually out when Kuzan released, so it was actually released a little bit later on down the line, but doesn't matter, we're going to take it on anyway, because it was one of those really difficult ones, and I think that it'll be really fun to go ahead and take this guy in. Now, one thing that you guys may notice is we're using a character that is not fully boosted on the team, and that is going to be Colosseum Kid. In this time frame where normal attacks only wasn't present, and especially before Sakazuki released, you know, with his crazy end of turn damage, this kid was one of the best free-to-play characters, if not the best free-to-play character in the game, allowing you just to wave clear multiple stages really quickly, and the amount of damage you got from it was pretty insane. So we're going to be using him in full force today, along with Law, Bellamy, and Lucci. Lucci is a bit of a weird one. We'll go through it once we get to the specific stage where we need him. But without further ado, let's go ahead and launch ourselves into this content. So thank you very much to the 12.1 update. We can just go ahead and use the Bandai friend captain. Unfortunately, no one else on my friends list has a base Kuzan, and I wouldn't blame anybody for not having that up. That's completely fair. But this is the Colosseum that we're going up against versus Neptune. Very, very excited to jump into this one. Neptune's a pretty difficult Colosseum, especially on release. So this is going to be interesting to see how we can get this done. But I feel pretty confident that we can get the job done. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the Colosseum against Neptune. Let's get it. Also, something to note that I just realized is we didn't talk about the ship that I'm using. Now, one of the really cool benefits of Kuzan and Sakazuki is that they have, you know, those two classes in fighter shooter and also striker shooter, and that actually helps you out when you want to go ahead and use the Blackbeard ship, as it gives you -1 cooldown at the start of the quest, but it also provides you with a substantial attack boost compared to the others. So most ships at this point were 1.5 multipliers. This ship actually gives you 1.55, and I think it actually gives you an HP boost as well. It's just a really good ship overall. So because of the fact that we have the two classes of striker and shooter on Kuzan, it allows us to use this ship, because there is a condition. You need to have a fighter, shooter, slasher, and a striker on your crew in order to activate its effect. And luckily for us, because of striker shooter on Kuzan, we have a slasher with Trafalgar Law, and we have a fighter with Bellamy. So we actually fulfill all the conditions required for the ship, which is so good. So I don't really want to take too much damage here, but I think we can actually get away with just moving on here. Because of the fact that we have the minus cooldown with the ship, we have the Kid special that we're going to be launching very soon, that also provides -2 cooldown at the start of the quest, and with enemy preemptives and stuff, we don't really need to worry about cooldown as much with this team, which is a huge benefit. These Larpens at the back need to die. These guys are definitely problematic. We don't want to take damage either, because we are going to need as much HP as we possibly can once we get to Battle 4, because that is going to be a very scary stage. Let's just attack with Kid first, then we'll go with this, and then we'll just end it. There we go. Moving on to Battle 3. So Battle 3 is going to be up against Jinbei. Now, Jinbei, he usually is pretty difficult to deal with, but this is where that Colosseum Kid comes in very clutch. One thing that we're going to do first as well, we're going to use the Bellamy special on the Jinbei just to provide a bit of a health cut. That's literally the only reason why he's here. And there aren't really many characters that could fulfill this condition of, you know, being a Psy fighter that provide a health cut. There's a couple that we could have used, but Bellamy's cooldown is so low that it was a pretty good fit for the team. Now, let's go ahead and use the Kid special ability, which is going to be the -2 cooldown, also providing the end of turn damage, which is going to be super clutch. Now, let's see if we actually get a lot of hits on Jinbei, because if we don't get enough hits, that was pretty decent, because sometimes, you know, the damage is really tight with this one, because I believe Jinbei had, from what I was looking at, it was like 1.5 million HP. And I think with this, it should equate to being enough damage. I'm going to do some normal attacks just to secure a little bit of extra damage. But, you know, it's a little bit sketchy. In theory, this should completely KO them. It does. Perfect. Okay. That's really good. As we move on to Battle 4 versus Fisher Tiger. Then this is one of the stages where a lot of people would just lose their runs, because Fisher Tiger, he's really bulky and he has a lot of attack. He does a lot of damage to us. We're gonna just stall at the bind and stall at the increased defense, and with auto healing, we will actually have enough HP to tank this hit. Just enough. I think it's gonna be real close. Oh my god, 891 HP. But now we can go ahead and do a burst turn. So let's go ahead and use the Kuzan special, which we talked about a little bit earlier, providing us with the 2.25 times attack boost to quicken Psy, as well as providing us with the full board of matching slots. Now, remember, when you're doing a burst turn with Kuzan, you need to attack in the right order. If you guys remember at the start of the video, we talked about it. You need to hit in the order of yellow, yellow, then blue, and then the rest of your crew will get the buffed attack multiplier. So we're going to attack with Kid first, because he doesn't do any damage. So we'll go Kid, Bellamy, Kuzan, and then Lucci. And then I believe, yeah, because I do have extra cotton candy on Law, his attack multiplier is a little bit higher. So that should be the order. We go like Kid, Bellamy, Kuzan, Lucci, Kuzan, Law. And that should be it. And hopefully it's enough to kill, hopefully. Alright, here we go. There we go. Beautiful. 3.4 million damage is actually a pretty substantial amount just with that attack boost and everything. And, you know, it wasn't really a lot of boosts going on there, so that's really good. And then this is another reason why Fisher Tiger is a problem, because he revives. And luckily for us, with the way that we have done this, is that even if we don't kill this turn, he's not going to attack us. He's only going to buff himself, which means if we don't kill him, which I don't think we're going to kill. It's going to be really close, though, I think. Alright, let's do another burst turn. Hopefully get the win. If not, I'm pretty sure he has the turn where he just buffs himself, and then we'll be okay to move on. So hopefully he just doesn't attack us here. Let's go. Oh, wow, that was really close. We actually missed one of our perfects there. If we hit that, it might have actually KO'd. So yeah, he just buffs himself, and he doesn't do anything. So, again, we can just do a regular attack, and that should be it. There we go. Okay, so now we're on to the final boss stage. Holy, okay, we're on to the final boss stage. So, this is, again, another reason why this Colosseum sucked on release, is because he is surrounded by a bunch of mobs, and they all have a barrier. He also doesn't allow you to activate an orb boosting effect. If you provide an orb boost, I believe he removes your beneficial effects, and then he does something bad. I can't remember exactly, but don't use an orb boost, okay? But another thing is he also does the minus cooldown. He reduces your character's cooldown. So again, just really, really bad stuff. So we can use the Law special to reduce everyone's cooldown, and it allows our damage dealing specials to bypass enemy defensive effects, which is huge. So with that, it's going to allow the special ability of then Lucci to do a bunch of AoE damage to hopefully wipe out the mobs. I actually didn't calculate how much damage Lucci did. This should be enough damage to KO them. Lucci does provide a bit of a recovery boost as well. Like he actually heals us a little bit. Unfortunately, there weren't really many like color affinity boosters at this time, that especially ones that did damage. So that would have been a really good addition to the team as well. And then, you know, we do have Bellamy ready to go, but Bellamy really doesn't do anything here. But now we can use Kuzan special. So Kuzan provides us with a full board of slots, and the attack boost once again. But luckily, compared to the Fisher Tiger stage that we just had, we actually have type advantage this time. So we're going to be doing way more damage compared to the Fisher Tiger fight. So at this point, we want to attack in the exact same order, and hopefully it's enough to kill. It's going to be pretty close, I think, once again. But I have faith that we should be able to secure the win here. Here we go. Yes, we did it! Whew! That was very tight on damage, I think. I don't know how much HP Neptune had, but that was very, very tight on damage. Whew! Alright, we did it. Neptune KO'd with the Kuzan, and that was actually a pretty quick team, honestly. Like, it didn't take a lot of stall, and of course we talked a lot throughout it, but you know, even without the talking, that was a very, very fast team to get through it. Extremely good. Whew! Very, very tight on damage towards the end though, but hey, we still secured victory, which is great. And with that, that is going to wrap up yet another Legends of OPTC episode. Next week, we're going to be looking forward to a Global First Legend. Yes, a legend that debuted on Global First before landing on the Japanese version. And that character was Legend Gar, but definitely a huge surprise to a lot of global players, and we weren't really expecting that one. So yeah, we're going to be covering Garp in next week's video. It's going to be interesting though, because Garp, even on release, was a little sketchy, so we'll see how that one goes. But that's going to wrap it up here. Thank you so much for watching, and if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all of the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.